Brooklyn Knitfolk podcast. This is episode 17. My name is Jacqueline. You can find me on Instagram, Ravelry, and Pinterest as @JacquelineSalem. Show notes for this episode can be found on the Ravelry group in Brooklyn Knitfolk Ravelry group if you just search in the groups tab. And I think that's all the things you need to know. This is a podcast about knitting, crafting, sewing, just a generally crafty lifestyle. I live in Brooklyn, New York City with a roommate and 2 cats. And yeah, I hope you guys have had a really great couple of weeks. It's been a very hot summer so far, but fun and filled with tons of things to do. I don't know about all of you, but this summer has been, I'd say, busier than most of them usually are for me. So it's been great, it's been busy, it's just kind of ready to slow down with some knitting and just chill out, and I'm already looking forward to fall, as I'm sure most of you are. I just want fall to last for forever, basically. I'm already dreaming of my fall cast-ons and October knitting and purchasing yarn goodies specifically for the fall months, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I have a really great episode for you guys today, I think. So let's go ahead and jump right in with that. The 2,000 subscribers giveaway just ended, and I drew a prize winner. Let me show you the prizes again really quick, if you hadn't already known. This lovely skein of cat sandwich fibers, which is amazing, and it's called Let's All Get Margaritas, and it was the inspiration for the prize theme. See these amazing colors. If you guys haven't already checked out Cat Sandwich Fibers, go check out her Instagram feed and see what she's up to. The speckling and her color palettes are just amazing. I'll show you a different skein that I'll be working with soon that I purchased from her shop, but if you can get your hands on some of this, I would definitely give that a try. Sorry, my cat Jafar is being very vocal. One second. Okay, I drew for a winner for the 2,000 subscribers giveaway. I was already talking about this, showing you prizes. Okay, beautiful skein of cat sandwich fibers. This flamingo stitch marker that I made. And this project bag that I made out of the most amazing fabric. This is not a Mrs. Brown Bags or the Fawn and the Fox operation, you guys. Just so we're clear on that, it's not like a super fancy bag. It's just all about this amazing fabric, drawstring, yellow bottom, but check that out. Avocados, tequila, tacos. What more could you want in life, right? This is like the perfect fabric, and I have enough left over to make one for myself, so I'm gonna do it. Drawstring bag. So this is the prize package, and the winner of the prize is, I forget the post number, but I did random number generator, and it's Chris Loves Knitting. So congratulations to Chris Loves Knitting. The questions on the prompt, because there were 3, were: what is your favorite young adult book series? What is your favorite knitting, sewing, crafting, etc. book or vlog? And what is your favorite best kept secret, tool, notion, etc. And Chris Loves Knitting said her favorite young adult book series is: I really enjoy young adult books, so I have several favorites. The Red Queen series, The Hunger Games, Eleanor and Park, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I could go on, but I'll stop there. Her favorite knitting and sewing, crafting, crochet book or blog is I love the Barbara Walker Treasury of Knitting books. And her favorite best kept secret, trick, tool, or notion is: when knitting in the round, I switch the first and last stitch, which makes a better and smoother join. So I learned a ton from this prompt for sure. The whole reason I asked about favorite crafting books and best kept secrets, sorry, brain is everywhere right now, is because I don't just kind of want to gauge and see what's out there. But I do have a favorite young adult book series, and it's not, this isn't sacrilege, but it's not Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter, and I'm not saying that this series I'm about to show you is better than Harry Potter, because it's not better as far as writing goes, but I read this series at least once a year, and I am shocked that not one other person mentioned it. It is so good. and it's the Sweep series by Kate Tiernan. If you guys haven't read this before or checked it out, please do. I can't remember exactly how many are in this. It's like something like 12 or 13 books in the series, but they're all really, really short. Like this is 3 of the books in one. I did have them all purchased separately, but decided to sell those and buy them in the packs because, like I said, I literally read this once a year, and I'm about to start reading it again. So if any of you want to read it along with me, you're more than welcome to. And the first 5 books are on audiobook for anybody who's like an audiobook lover. If you are into the whole girl who discovers she's a witch theme, trust me. I cannot tell you how many people I've recommended this to, and they have all loved it. So go get it. The first one is called Book of Shadows. They, like I said, they are sold in, you know, separate books, and the first 5 are on audio, but I would recommend just getting these packs so that you don't have to, you know, buy tons of these small little thin books, because trust me, you're going to read it and you're going to fly through it, and when you run out, or when you finish the first one and you don't have the next one, you're going to be sad. So I'm going to start reading this probably pretty soon here. Maybe I'll even open up a thread on Ravelry so that we can talk about this book, because it's so good. And my sister and I both reread this all the time. So trust me, go out and get it. The first one is called Book of Shadows. Again, it's the Sweep series by Kate Tiernan. Girl who discovers she's a witch. And I can't say more than that, honestly, because there's just so much that okay, I have to stop. Otherwise I'm just gonna, you know, look like a crazy person. But I am really crazy about this series, so go check it out. And congratulations to Chris Loves Knitting for winning the Margarita prize package. Yay! And thank you again for everyone who subscribes to my YouTube channel. I really cannot tell you how much I appreciate the interactions I have with each and every one of you. I feel so incredibly lucky to get to talk to you guys on Instagram and Ravelry, and, you know, everything that doing this podcast has brought into my life has been nothing but joy and friendship. So thank you again so much for that. And now we will move into the show. Starting with finished objects, I'm wearing one, which you may or may not have seen if you follow me on Instagram. Again, that's at Jacqueline Salem. This is the Pearl Soho boxy tee, sort of. So there's 3 variations on the Pearl Soho boxy tee. There's version A, B, and C. This one is kind of a combination of A and C, and also none of them. So I was gifted this fabric from the Wool Club. And that's Verena. She's the Wool Club on Instagram. We did a swap with the Mandarin seasonal and local swap, and this linen fabric was dying to be made into a boxy tee. I could tell immediately. But I way underestimated the amount of fabric that I had, so I couldn't make the full-on version of the Pearl Soho boxy tee, but I'm not disappointed because I still love how it came out. So I'll insert a picture of it, you know, over here to show you what the full one looks like. I already knew when looking at the finished product that the sleeves were too long for what I had in mind, so I knew I wanted to make them shorter. Well, it turns out, if you look at the pattern, and it's 100% free, a boxy tee for this particular pattern is literally just 2 large rectangles that you cut out, and then you use, Mika, if you would stop clawing the couch, that would be wonderful. Thank you. As I was saying, 2 large rectangles that you cut out, and then you use these 2 templates, literally the only templates that they give you, because they give you exact measurements for what size rectangles of fabric to cut out. This neck piece for the front and the back. And you cut these out to make the holes for the neckline, and that's it. The rest of it, this is literally just a rectangle. Rectangle 1, rectangle 2. I didn't do any other cutting on this fabric to make the sleeves. So once you cut out the neck hole, I'll show you the full thing real quick. I added ties to mine, which are still really, really long because I haven't decided if I'm going to keep them yet. The original pattern has another panel below, but I didn't have enough fabric to do that. I really loved that detail, so if I did have enough fabric, I probably would have added the extra rectangle below because I liked how that looks in the pattern. But I love the length of it too. It's sort of cropped. I'm wearing high-waisted jeans right now, so you can't super tell, but I loved that detail on the bottom. It turns out, because I didn't have enough fabric to make the sleeves, that when I just sewed them as the pattern called for without adding the extra sleeve length to it, that this is the exact sleeve length that I wanted. So if you want a shorter sleeve, then don't cut out the sleeve patterns on the pattern. But other than that, this is a super easy project. I would definitely recommend this to a beginner sewer. The pattern instructions are very clear. The pictures that the Purl Soho pattern has are very like thought out, and like I said, just clear, concise instructions. A beginner sewer will have no problem making this top. And I needed technically to sew a bias around this edge, but because again, this is literally all I had left of the fabric. I just barely got a shirt out of this. I just kind of flipped it under and sewed it. It's even got a raw edge there, which is not really great, but I'm nervous if I did it again that it would be too low. I don't know. So we'll see. But I'm very pleased with how it turned out. Again, this is the Purl Soho boxy tee. I'll leave all the links in the show notes for you to go find it if you want to make it. And I think that's all I wanted to say about that. Oh, the ties. I'm not sure, what do you guys think? So obviously this is with it tied, and having the ties gives me more of a shape. But if I don't use the ties, it's just, like a traditional boxy tee, which I also really like. So I can't decide. For now, I'm going to leave the ties on it, but we'll see. I might take them out later. And that is my finished object for the week. The second finished object, which is technically not my finished object, but I'm still going to show it anyway. Katrina of Cat's Kettle Yarns and the Yarn 30 podcast made me this amazing necklace. It's so my taste. Simple jewelry is everything. It's just one chain that has this hexagon on the end, and you just slide it through. Bada bing. Katrina, I'm in love with this. Thank you so much. I don't think she's selling these, but maybe we could harass her into it because this is amazing. So thank you so much for this beautiful necklace, Katrina. I literally have not taken it off. I'm obsessed with it. I wear it every day since I've received it, and I think it goes perfectly with this top. So second finished object, not my finished object, someone else's, but still thought I'd have to show it off anyway. And now we'll move into works in progress. So I have made considerable progress on my Fine and Dandy. I keep saying that because that's the yarn I originally used this yarn for. These are not a pattern actually. They look very similar to the Flying North socks though by Maria Manska, but I haven't even looked at the pattern, so I'm not sure if it's exactly the same or the construction. The yarn is Stitch Together Studios in their Spark base in the colorway Crazy Cat Lady. And I meant to call these my umbrage socks because they're like this kind of sickly pink orange with flecks of kind of olive in there every now and then. And I just popped the heel in on the first one, and it's my first time doing a Fish Lips Kiss heel. I think it turned out great. I love it. It's a short row heel. It makes no holes. I couldn't believe it. Super, super easy. The pattern, I'm sure you guys have all heard of this, but in case you haven't, the pattern is 16 pages long, so it seems like it would be crazy, but the actual pattern itself for the heel is only like a page or two. And it creates this really gorgeous, no holes heel. I haven't tried it on yet, obviously, because I'm not done with the sock, but the German short row heel technique that was used in Mina's Pebble socks. I really liked that one, but it was slightly too shallow. It fit okay. It wasn't, you know, terrible or anything like that. But if this one is deeper, this one will be my go-to heel. And I know a lot of people really like it. Plus I like short row heels better than the heel flap gusset and turn, because I don't have to take them off, the stitches off of my 9-inch circulars, which is my preferred method for knitting socks right now. So the short row heels are best for me because I can leave them on the 9-inch circulars. So this yarn right here is Koigu Painter's Palette Premium Merino, the KPPM. They don't name their colors, but it's just kind of like this orange pink color. And I'm right about, literally the next stitch I put into this will be for the heel for this sock right here. I can't decide. I was looking at this yarn and almost wishing that I used this other amazing, let me get it real quick, 1 second. Okay. I have this amazing mini from Yarn Co. in the Electric Meadow colorway. I'm almost wishing now, since the reflexive green in this sock, that I use this for the heel, but now I'm thinking maybe I will use this for toes instead and have both. So I'll have pink heels and Electric Meadow toes. I think that would look amazing. So I'll probably do that, or maybe just use this for both. We'll see what I feel like when I get to it. But I love this color. It's amazing. So those are my Professor Umbridge socks, similar to Flying North by Maria Manska. Just this kind of V shape, with just made with knits and pearls, nothing super fancy. I better put this back in the bag, or my kitty, who is laying on the couch, will want to try to knit it. All right, and the next work in progress is my Hetty shawl, a pattern by Isolde Teague. Let me tell you, this is the border that never ends, because it's not. I did finally get to the center, and my yarn ball's flying. I did finally get to the center diamond. So now I just have to work all of this side in the opposite direction to go this way. And once I finish this border, then I can pick up the stitches in the interior and just knit garter, you know, to my heart's content in the center. I did make quite a bit of progress on it though, so that's where I was before. So finally at the center part of the border, I'm just gonna keep going on this as I can. It's not at this point the most enjoyable knit, just because it does require a lot of attention with all of the cables. Like, it's a hella cabling in this thing. It's beautiful and I love the yarn. It's Brooklyn Tweed Shelter. This is the Hayloft colorway, and I'll be using their postcard colorway for the interior portion of it. The yarn is absolutely beautiful. I've had absolutely no problems with breakage, none of that stuff that I've heard other podcasters talking about. And the stitch definition, you cannot go wrong with Brooklyn Tweed yarn and cables. It just is a stunning combination of stitch pattern and yarn. So I'm really, really excited about this. I just am ready to be done with this border. It feels like it's really been dragging on, and this is going to be a really great finished object, I think, once I finish it. Again, that's the Hetty shawl by Isolde Teague. I'm knitting it on size 7 needles. These are my Addi Turbo lace tips. This is my absolute #1 favorite needle type, but I love Hayas as well. My next work in progress is a new one that you haven't seen yet. So Stephen West is hosting a cal for his Dotted Rays shawl, and I'm a sucker for Stephen West patterns, which is funny because when I first started knitting, I really wasn't a huge fan, but they're just so fun to knit. Once you knit one of them, you will see why people love knitting Stephen West patterns so much. They're so clear, they're so fun, it's unexpected. His constructions are unexpected compared to other knitting patterns. But once you knit one of them, he does a lot of the same, like similar techniques for his shawls and works his designs. There we go. So this is the dotted rays, sort of scrunched up on the needles. And there are so many color options that you can do with this. Every single wedge, you know, between the eyelets, you could do a different color. You could even do a different color for a stripe in between your wedges. I've decided what I'm gonna do is knit one color for 2 wedges, no stripe in between. So luckily there have been some amazing project pages on Ravelry for this already, for people who have said how much yarn they've used for each of the wedges, and I've kind of used that to determine what amounts I will need for each of the wedges, because some of them are brand new skeins, and so I'm just winding a little bit off of the skein and making a note of it whenever I come back to it in the future. So I don't want to cake up the whole yarn for only using, you know, such a small amount. So I'm keeping track of that. I will add that to my Ravelry page as well. This first one here is the Mocha colorway from Yarn Co. This amazing green is Primo Fingering Plucky Knitter in Ogre. This gorgeous blush pink is Sweet Sparrow Yarns on her Magpie Gold Stellina base in the Sarah Crew colorway. And my favorite that I've used so far is another Yarn Co. in the Fog colorway. And then I'm currently, there's not a lot of contrast between Fog and the one I'm on, but this is Tosh Merino Light in Antique Lace. So that's kind of what it's looking like so far. I'm loving the color combination. Using all these different colors and putting them together has been really, really fun. I'll go ahead and show you the other colors I have planned. After I finish with the Antique Lace, I'm going to use this Koigu Painter's Palette Premium, which is like a black and white speckle, which I love. It's kind of more like a black and white navy speckle. And this one, which I showed you last week in Acquisitions, Cat Sandwich Fibers in the Mookite Jasper colorway. I actually built my entire color palette of this dotted rays shawl around this skein of yarn. So gorgeous. And then the last one is going to be this Tosh Merino Light in Tart. This is actually the first skein of yarn that I ever purchased when I started knitting in a serious way last year. So this will be fun to use, and I caked it up before I knew that you shouldn't cake yarn until you're ready to use it, so it has been sitting in my stash for almost a year caked up. So hopefully that's not damaged it too much. I heard that can stretch out your yarn, but it is what it is. I have heard that this bleeds like crazy, and I'm a little bit nervous because since I'm knitting it with all of these other colors, I don't want it to bleed into the rest of this. But it's already caked up, so it's not in the skein where I could kind of like wash it easily. So if any of you have suggestions for how I can avoid bleeding of this colorway into the rest of my project, please let me know in the down bar below. I will do my best to do some research myself, but I haven't looked into it yet at all. And I really, really want to use this. I think it will look amazing, this color palette. But I don't want it to ruin the FO. So if any of you have any suggestions for that, that would be fantastic. And again, that's Dotted Rays by Stephen West. Knitting that on US size 5s. The pattern calls for a 6, but my 6s are currently hostage on my exploration station until I learn how to do brioche, which I do have a plan for. That whip is not going away. I just have to learn brioche first. So plus my gauge is loosened up quite a bit, so using the 5s I think is probably fine for the dotted rays shawl. It's not like it's a fitted garment. And then the last whip I want to show you, you guys. So the hand spun Cormo. It's finally happening. Finally. So excited. So I've shown you in the past the beeswax hat. It's an amazing honeycomb stitch pattern. She also has a cowl that she has designed, Amy Vanderlaar. Yeah, Amy Vanderlaar. She also has a cowl, but both of those objects are knit in the round. Sorry, nose itch. I asked her if she happened to have a wrap version, and it turns out that she was in the process of writing up a scarf when I emailed her asking if there was a wrap. So I say like, well, I could just add extra repeats to it and turn it into a wrap. So that's what I am doing. I don't have a picture, obviously, of what it's going to look like. I have a swatch picture that she sent me, but I won't share that yet. I'll show the whip to you as I work on it. But I do know right now that I'm gonna have to do some math before I keep going, because the finished object size projected for the wrap version of this should be about 17 inches, and right now this is 22. So I don't want to run out of yarn. The pattern calls for worsted weight, but this yarn is easily Aran weight and sometimes bulky in places. So the pattern calls for a size 7. I sized up to a size 8 because the yarn was so much bigger, but because of that, it's making it really, really big. So I'm thinking I'll probably cast on with fewer stitches to decrease the amount of repeats of the stitch pattern across. But I just kind of need to do some math and finagling before I keep going with this. So not a whole lot to show you yet, but this is a seed stitch border that I'm doing on the edge of it. The pattern does not call for that, but I told her from the beginning that I really wanted to do a seed stitch border on this wrap. So she said that was fine, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I need to do some math first before I can continue on, but I'm so excited to have the pattern ready to go in this amazing Cormo hand spun yarn that I got at the Washington County Farm and Fiber Tour. And it's hand spun by Mother Superior of the St. Mary's on the Hill farm. So really excited for this project. I can't wait to see how it's going to knit up. The fabric that it makes, oh man, it's different. It's the same kind of softness as merino, but it's a way different texture. Whereas this is much more like velvety. It's really kind of hard to describe, but it's incredibly soft, but more velvety in texture. So that's my last work in progress for the moment. So now I'll move into acquisitions. Well, I meant to mention this earlier. Tip and trick. I set this out to remind myself. When I was cutting out these 2 pattern pieces for my boxy tee, all I had were my fabric scissors. And I just wanted to give a quick tip. I'm sure most of you maybe know this, but for those of you who don't, fabric scissors should only be used for cutting out fabric. I was cringing cutting paper with my fabric scissors. Cutting paper dulls scissors so quickly. So if you didn't know that, now you know. Fabric scissors, buy a really good pair. They can be kind of pricey, but buy a good pair and save them only for fabric uses, and that's it. Cutting paper with scissors, big no-no, dulls them so fast. So, like I said, a lot of you probably know that, but I forgot to mention that, and I just saw this sitting in front of me, so thought I would share. Acquisitions. So sometimes stalking your favorite popular Etsy stores pays off, because I've been dying to get a skein of coloring book yarns for forever, but every time she lists them, it's just like a bloodbath to get to them. So I was just, browsing Etsy and like, oh, wonder if there's anything in there. And lo and behold, she had listed some skeins in secret, and usually she posts about it on her Instagram or in a newsletter, and she does very irregular updates, like several months between updates. They're self-striping yarns, and this is the Merry Everything Hexie colorway. Coloring book yarns. I saw it and I was just like, purchase immediately. And I did. I love all the colors in this. Love it. I was hoping for a skein of Sweet Tooth, but there was none in the shop. So I don't know if somebody else bought it or if she just didn't list any of those. But I am very excited to have this amazing skein of coloring book yarns. So that was the first mail day purchase. Second one, Cat's Kettle had an open shop week not too long ago, a few weeks ago. And I purchased a skein of her, oh my gosh, what is the name of this? Reptile House. Check out this speckly goodness. It's like a cream with speckles of brown, forest green, some red, and then this kind of blue color. It's gorgeous. And I originally purchased this to knit the Don't Touch Those Leaves socks by Debbie Reese, but now that I've been knitting on my 9-inch circulars and seeing what works for me, usually right now it's just simple knits and purl stitches kinds of patterns are what's going to work on those 9-inch circulars. There just isn't a lot of room to move around on them like you can with Magic Loop and DPNs. So I'll probably end up knitting a different pair of socks now, unfortunately, but I'm just super stoked to knit with this yarn. Right now I'm thinking about knitting Annie Fisherman, her pattern called, wrote it down, Rusted from the Rain. She recommended it to me after I said that in my previous episode that knitting on the 9-inch circulars was best with just simple knits and purls designs, and she has a really great sock pattern called Rusted from the Rain that I'll probably knit with this, is what I'm thinking right now. She has a podcast, by the way, and it's called, formerly called the Wine Wall Knitting Podcast, but it was recently changed to Against All Knots. So go check that out if you're interested in looking for a new podcast. Amazing. Oh, this is gorgeous. Thank you, Katrina. I'm so excited about it. And I'm not sure if you could call this necessarily an acquisition. I mean, I didn't knit them myself, but look at these socks. Look at them. Pancakes. And bananas. Try not to be too jealous. I cannot wait to wear these. I have so many random fun socks in my wardrobe. I saw these, I needed them. They were necessary. And then some beautiful stitch markers and progress keepers from Katrina. This one has Saturn on it. And I forgot to show you my new favorite is this pumpkin stitch marker that she sent. Progress keeper. Well, stitch marker here, but it's a progress keeper. With the pumpkin. Love it. There's something about Katrina's stitch markers and progress keepers. I have so many, like full, well, not this. These are more that she sent as gifts for you guys, by the way. So I'll include those in future podcasts. But there's a one with a sheep, mechanical sheep, and then another one with a teapot on it. I have so many stitch markers, so many of these. But for some reason, hers are the one I reach to for again and again. They're just like a great shape, functional, they work well, they don't snag on anything. I know that's like a weird thing to kind of rave about, but these are my favorite ones. She sent these to me a long time ago when I first started knitting, and it's just these like square jump rings with a bead. I don't know why, but every single time I go for a stitch marker, these are the ones I reach for. And hers in general. They're just like a really good size. Yes, and I love them. And I think that's it for acquisitions. There's a few things I wanted to mention, and these are thank yous for pattern gifts that have been sent to me. The first one is thank you to Caroline, who is Quilter Caroline. She sent Quilter Caroline on Ravelry. She's the designer behind Clothesline Designs, and she recently designed this really beautiful shawl called the Veggie Garden Shawl. And it's super pretty. I'll insert a picture of it here. That's definitely one I've added to my queue. I think it will make a great gift knit for somebody that I know, so I'm really excited to knit that. Thank you so much for that, Caroline. And another thank you to Ethan Brandt for sending me his latest hat, the Serenity Slouchy? Yeah, Serenity Slouchy hat. Another really gorgeous hat design that has these panels of seed stitch. between a like kind of striped of knit stitches. Again, I'll put in a picture here so you can see what I'm talking about. And last but certainly not least, thank you so much to Jess of the Sweater Co, who has sent me a pattern of her new sock pattern called the Arabesque socks. Stunning sock pattern, and she sent an extra one as a giveaway for you guys, so I will be giving that over on Instagram. So if you'd like to win a copy of the Arabesque socks, head over to Instagram, watch that space for the next few days, and I'll be posting about how you can win that over there. So thank you so much. Gorgeous socks and hat and shawl. Thank you so much to anybody who sends me your kind messages on Ravelry, Instagram, email. I really do appreciate every single thing that you guys do for me and that this community does for each other. You guys are the best. So with that, I will leave this episode and I will talk to you soon. Bye!